Hey everyone, Mario here. Today I wanted to discuss cardio as it relates to muscle building. It's not really something that's discussed very often, with good reason, I suppose. Cardio is really associated with like leaning down and not so much something that can actually help you long term in terms of building muscle. But of course, there is such a strong correlation and it does help. And that's what I wanted to emphasize on in this video. I just wanted to touch upon the topic and make you all understand that cardio, of course, aside from it being essential, right? It's for working your heart. There are, of course, those side benefits of leaning down, but a person can actually build muscle as they lean down and possibly even way more 2 or 3 months in than at that starting point. So and you could find yourself with a six-pack, and you can be bigger and actually heavier, and that's even possible. There are certain hormones that are released when you're doing cardio, and if you just look at, for example, when a person does cardio regularly, their skin is usually very clear, not so many blemishes, and this also has an effect on your muscles themselves. And it kind of when you do a weight training workout in simultaneously, kind of whether it be the next day or directly after, or even if it's right before a cardio workout. But as you're doing cardio regularly, week in and week out, you will find that your muscles actually, your pumps are bigger. So you'll have more volume as you're working out. And for me, this does translate into having more muscle long term, as long as you are consistent with both of those things, resistance training and with cardio training, aerobic training. So what would be the ideal format or amount of cardio and intensity level of cardio? I would say it's twice a week, 20 minutes, moderate intensity. So by the end of your cardio workout, you're sweating like a pig, dripping. You should not be not sweating. If you're not sweating, I don't care how cold it is outside, or if you were jogging, or honestly, like I said, some people do like an hour of cardio and it's almost like a walk or a brisk walk, and it has like almost zero effect. And in some ways it could maybe work against you. Your body kind of adapts to this sort of lower intensity cardio, and it just does not have an effect. And if anything, it might even demand a little bit more out of you each time. Otherwise, it kind of sets you back and does create a sort of regression and make you more susceptible to gaining fat when you eat unhealthy foods, high starch foods, etc., etc. So very sweet foods. You might find yourself actually having a difficult time leaning down, even if it's it wouldn't even be a slow process. It would be actually working against you, so you would be getting fatter. So I would say the cardio really has to be of moderate intensity, approximately, and purposely so. So you're not going towards, like, more will not be better. Like, more intense is not better, because you don't want to burn out your muscles. And this is, of course, a little bit of a cliche. This is why bodybuilders don't talk about it, don't like to do it. A lot of even pro bodybuilders, all they do is diet and weight train. So when they want to lean down and prepare for a competition. So even when they're in this process of leaning down, they shy away from cardio. Some of them swear by this or against it, but I think the ones that do are also individuals that have never really tried it. And it's especially if you're a person of a smaller frame or naturally thin or naturally has a very high metabolism, you will almost be afraid to do cardio because of this reason of burning your muscles out, thinking that any form of cardio and any amount or intensity of cardio will just work against you. So like these people want to be sitting all the time. They love that they have an office job, for example, or working from home. They always seem to want to rest and not so much do cardio because they think it will work against them, but it's not the case really. It can help, and I would say for most people it would, even if you do have a leaner type frame, so closer to ectomorph or a mesomorph frame would be the ideal frame, but ideal physiology, let's say, physiological makeup. But at the same time, even if you're an ectomorph, naturally kind of very, very sort of thin and lean, it can have benefits. And I saw this. I was lucky enough to stumble across this, not because I felt, more intuitive in terms of what results it would bring, or thinking that I'm an intelligent person, or that I read books on it or anything. I didn't do any of that stuff. It didn't feel innately. It wasn't calling me or anything like that. It was just that I played soccer in my younger years, and I was still playing soccer when I started weight training and training for muscle building. And I quickly saw that, and I did feel at that time, you feel it, that the cardio was helping, and if something isn't broken, like, don't fix it kind of thing. I was quite young, so metabolism levels were very high. Naturally had already a fast metabolism, being a leaner, thinner person. I weighed like 120 pounds or so when I started training. But you would think that, someone that thin and that light at my height of about 5 feet 10 inches, 10.5 inches tall, would really shy away from cardio and not want to do any of that stuff. And I remember people almost criticizing me in this process and saying, well, you should stop, playing soccer, or maybe play only once a week and not play 2 games and 3 practices per week, etc., etc. It didn't faze me, because I quickly saw within the first few weeks that I was just gaining so much muscle. And this is normal for somebody that starts training. Almost whatever they do will bring them those sort of results. Even if you're not really training for gaining mass, if you do any sort of exercise, you'll likely put on quite a bit of muscle in that first year. So it might be 20 pounds, 25 pounds. Usually someone that's as thin as I was, approximately the same height, will take about a year to accomplish the gains I accomplished in 6 months. And in those 6 months, I did gain 40 to 50 pounds. It was probably around 45 pounds. And that was honestly all muscle. And I would attribute some of those gains to the cardio. I was doing cardio, I think, 4 or 5 times per week, like intense and for a long period. So you can imagine how much exercise I was getting in, but you would think that would work against me. It did not at all. If anything, it really helped. I felt, that those weeks where I did, even when I did a little bit more cardio, it would, when I had those 2 games and maybe 2 or 3 practices in a week, as opposed to maybe a week break that we took from our soccer team, I would see myself leaner, but I would also, the muscles were just definitely expanding, and your work within a certain workout itself, the pumps I would get would be much greater. And it wasn't just a optical illusion of being leaner because you did cardio that week. It was really like I would be weighing myself on a scale, and I would actually be increasing during those periods. So more so than when I had periods of rest from cardio, periods of time that were taken away, having had cardio taken away from my schedule. So it and you know, I don't want to, like, I mean, that was 20 years ago. I've got the dad bod a little bit right now. I'm 40 now. I just started actually today training for leaning down seriously. So I started about 2 weeks ago. Last week was terrible. There was just so many things that happen, and life does get in the way at times, but you know, you keep moving forward. You got to be as consistent as possible, and that's what I'm trying to do. And you know, I started today and I said, you know what, now's the time, no excuses. And every period that I go through where I want to lean down, it always works because I have so much experience. Like I said, I grew up, you know, always playing sports. Soccer when I was younger, it was hockey in the winters, soccer in the summers, and then eventually it was just soccer in winter, and summer and winter. I would play indoor soccer in the winter, and later on it was soccer and training at the gym, so weight training, sometimes a little bit of cardio training in the gym, but I really didn't need to do aerobic training in the gym because I was playing team sports. And now it's just, you know, weight training and cardio training, and it's been actually weight training only for the last little while, and now it's time to really get in shape and do both. And I know that I'll actually gain weight, and I'm at that level of let's say you could say experience, and I don't mean to put myself on a pedestal, but like I said, when you know yourself so well, you know your body so well, these things come very easily and naturally, and it's like been there, done that, you know, like I know how to do it. It's I know I'm gonna get results. The confidence levels aren't as high as I'd like them to be, just because, you know, you see yourself in a current state, maybe being more out of shape than you've ever been. But I know that from experience that, you know, when it's time to crack down and get in shape, regardless of what's going on, it happens quite fast and to an extreme level. And here's what I wanted to get at. You might not, you know, want to do cardio, you know, 2, 3, 4 times a week. You might not want to get into that sort of extreme shape anyways. So the results that you want are not the results that I want. But I'm thinking you're here because you do want to build muscle and also lean down and have a nice V-taper and just have that kind of dream physique, that whatever you would consider to be a dream physique. And you could get it, and you could get it in a relatively short amount of time if you're not a person that's carrying a really excessive amount of fat, meaning you're not definitely not morbidly obese, and you're not or even if you are obese but not, I mean, what's considered obese? Let's say people 30% body fat. I think 20% body fat or more is possibly considered to be obese, but definitely 30% or higher body fat percentage of body fat is considered obese. But even if those are just words, if you feel like you're not that heavy, or it seems like you're carrying weight, for men especially, it's usually around the waistline, and you feel like, well, I have a pot, but I don't, like, I see my cuts, I see the lines even on my legs, on my thighs, forearms, shoulders, back, you know, I might even have some vascularity and see some veins, kind of, you know, especially when you do a weight training workout, after a weight training workout. You know, definitely it could take even just a few months to get into that very lean, get that very lean physique, that dream physique that you've always wanted. So, you know, set aside a couple of months. Don't I wouldn't think too much about that. I never liked the idea of those types of goals where, okay, in 3 months I need to do it, because then the person attempts to do it, and because life gets in the way, they fell off track a couple of times in this process and they won't reach their goal, so they get totally depressed and they're like, you know what, forget this, I'll focus on making money or something like that. I'll redirect my energy elsewhere. Honestly, what's important is that you you're consistent with your training, with resistance training, especially for, I would say, a person that's a little older, possibly a family man, family woman. Don't take too many weeks off. When you're younger, you take a week off, 2 weeks off, even a month off, and it could have great benefits. Muscles, volume, everything just kind of, you might even lean down. It's almost like the body rests and is able to kind of fill out in the right places, and you'll flush out some of the bad stuff and get the rest you need, and just everything kind of like improves in that, and then your system essentially reboots. It's like you're new again, and you could get great results. But even from resting for 3 months, resting meaning not training, not doing cardio training, not doing weight training. But when you're a little older, it just works against you. I've seen this with many other people. It's the same thing with me. If I'm not committed to training regularly, it's very hard to improve. So you want to train week in and week out, and at the very least do a little bit, even if it's a full body workout for muscle training, bodybuilding training. And same goes for cardio training, aerobic training, doing running on a treadmill or jogging, running up and down a nearby park hill, or running stairs. I mean, that's a bit more intense cardio there, but my point is that if you're consistent, you will likely get results. You will definitely get results over time. But if you want it to be a little quicker without necessarily setting a goal of 3 or 4 months, then there's some things you need to do. And this is what we could get into right now. And like I said, it doesn't need to be, your goal is not the same as mine. And this is partly why I don't like, the 3-month threshold kind of like, quota. Like you need to have this sort of result in 3 months. It's like some people will get amazing results in 3 months, and others will get not so great results. But for them, that was the ultimate goal. They didn't want to, be so lean and so big, muscular. So in any case, the point is you want to consistently move forward. But now with that said, a little disclaimer that everybody is different and some things take a little longer. Some people don't mind because they don't really have such an extreme goal anyways. They only want to gain 3 pounds of muscle and lose 3 pounds of fat. So, that will be done within that period of a couple of months. Definitely 100%, if anything a couple of weeks. But either way, if you want results a little bit faster and you still want to maintain muscle, there is a sweet spot. I've trained quite a few people. I was a trainer for 20 years pretty much, or close to. Looking at my own training, being obsessed with training and muscle building and leaning down during certain periods, I know that what I'm about to tell you works. So here it goes. We're coming in on 20 minutes. This is a fairly long video. I want to end it as quick as possible because I don't want to give you so much information. It's really quite simple. For someone that's a little lighter or has, naturally a fast metabolism, will lean down fairly quickly from their own experiences. They'll maybe know this. But if you're quite thin, then you'll probably fall into that category. Then I would say, and by thin, I mean like you could still have fat. You still have fat that you want to lose. This is the whole point of this video, is that you're able to retain as much muscle as possible, as you're leaning down. When I say leaner, I don't necessarily mean somebody that weighs like what I used to weigh, 120 pounds. Like there are possibly 200 pounds wanting to lean down to 180. Maybe they're 6 feet tall, have a little bit of a kind of stomach and want to just kind of lean down. So, and still have some muscle mass there. So, it could be someone like that, for example. In any case, 2 times a week, 20 minutes, cardio will be more than fine for that person. especially if you're in your 20s, early 30s, up to early 30s, definitely teens. That's going to work just fine at a moderate, but it has to be at a moderate intensity level. So by the end of your workout, you need to be sweating. You need to be not necessarily drenched, but you should be sweating. Sweating is a sign that you're burning fat. Burning fat is a side benefit of cardio training, aerobic training. It's training that's primarily for heart health, but it has all of these amazing side benefits, one of which being burning fat. And the sweat that's dripping from your forehead down your back during a cardio workout, and usually towards the end of it, I would say is definitely a sign that you're burning fat. So that's something that for me is like key. If you're not sweating by the end of your workout, then it's not intense enough. So you increase the speed, increase the angle if you're running up a hill or something like that. It's got to be a little bit more challenging in some way, shape, or form. So 20 minutes twice a week, Mondays, Thursdays, for example. That's perfect for me. Those are my cardio days, Monday, Thursday, at the very least. And this is also what I wanted to get at. If you are a person that actually carries more fat, I'm somewhere, I would say, in the middle right now. I feel like I've really kind of let myself go in the last couple of months or even years. So I'm somewhat in the middle. I would do actually 3 times a week, 20 minutes. And the maximum, I would say, for someone that's really has a lot of fat to lose. So you're a person that maybe wants to lose even 100 pounds of fat, but is still a person that loves bodybuilding, wants to be muscular, doesn't want to have to wait, doesn't want to follow that sort of trend of let me lean down first and then I'll build up and then I'll bulk up and build up the muscles. I feel like it's counterintuitive. It doesn't really work when you it doesn't even work really effectively when you do that. For some it does, but they tend to be very extreme, and it's great that they're focused, but at the same time, that's not what training is for anyone, let alone someone that wants to be a bodybuilder or something like that. You need a balance. You need a bit of cardio, exercise, and you need also a bit of resistance exercise for strength, for, let alone muscle building. So, but I digress. I don't want to get into too many different things. I just wanted to say that if a person is carrying more fat, then they will do cardio, let's say 3 times a week for about 30 minutes. So that would be the maximum, 1 hour and a half of cardio. There's so many bodybuilders, professional athletes even, that they would say, this person, Mario, is crazy because, I do, to get in the shape I'm in, I got to do an hour of cardio, I got to do 2 hours or 3 hours of weight training every day, I got to train 6 days a week, I even train, or someone else might say they train 7 days per week. There are so many factors. Here's the thing. A lot of people, they get one of the major factors wrong. It's almost non-existent in their regimen, in this process of getting in shape, which is rest. So right there, they're messing up their system, not messing it up, but they're making it extremely difficult. They're having to compensate for a piece of the puzzle that's not there. So they're not resting enough. And by rest, I don't necessarily mean always resting and sleeping, lying down. I mean also not doing so much weight. So that it feels uncomfortable when you weight train, that it hits your nervous system almost. It goes down to the ligaments and doesn't actually affect your muscles so much, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that do this. You see them pushing so heavy. They're strength experts, which is great. They're strength experts, but they don't know much about muscle building. And if they're big, it's usually because they're on something, so unnatural. So I don't think they have so much experience in terms of building muscle. I myself, 100% natural, never taken anything close to what would be considered a steroid. Supplements, I don't even take performance enhancing supplements. So nitric oxide, creatine, nothing like that. I don't even take supplements at all right now. So it's like, honestly, if you want to build muscle, lean down, you as much as those things might help you, testosterone boosters and or even steroids, I've heard it's an incredible fat burner aside from just helping you build muscle and get volume in your muscles. You'll also lean down when you're on it. So and this is why I would say there's so many bodybuilders that they have kind of like these bloated physiques, but at the same time they're lean, quite lean throughout the year. Some of them look obese, but many of them, most of them, I would say, that are regularly taking cycling these steroids are actually quite. I don't know much about this stuff other than through observation, talking with a few people, a few supplement store owners, also. But yeah, they're quite lean for guys that are eating like pigs and taking in so much starchy carbohydrates and eating that oatmeal in the morning and then bread, pasta, pizza, and even in the bulking phase, many of them don't actually get that fat, and it's they're taking all kinds of products. So, but you can do it naturally and you can do it better. Like you can really be efficient, but there can be a piece of the puzzle, a major piece of the puzzle missing. And for a lot of people, I would say rest is one of them. They're overtraining, too much heavy weights, overtraining in terms of too much, the intensity level might be even too much. So it's going into the cardio and aerobic realm when it should have been just focused on resistance training, really getting those muscles pumped, working every major muscle, and all of course, the contouring muscles. I'm just throwing out examples of of what the outlook should be from a bird's eye view of rest. It's not just lying down and resting. It's also like taking things down a notch, and that doesn't mean at the end of a set that you still have tons of energy to give. No, by the end of the set you should be not exhausted, but you should be spent in terms of I can't do anymore. Like you just finish it and it's done. So like and you rest a minute and you feel like Superman or Supergirl again. And that's the beauty of weight training, resistance training. When done well, you feel strong all the time. As you get more in shape, you don't feel weaker, you feel stronger. You hear some bodybuilders say, I feel so weak, and this is towards the beginning of their pre-contest shape, the last 3 months before a contest, where they're going to be leaning down, increasing the intensity in terms of weight training. So they're kind of doing a circuit training, which combines a little bit of aerobic training with muscle building training. So and towards the beginning, they're like, I'm spent, and it's not just because of the training, but because they're missing this piece of the puzzle, which is rest. And they're really doing things that are working against them, and it just gets worse and worse and worse until they get to the show. But because they're doing all of those other things, to the nth degree, they're doing it and including eating enough to support the intense training and the 3 hours of weight training and 1 hour of cardio. Like they'll still get to an amazing physique. But keep in mind, a lot of these people are also on very extreme performance enhancing drugs, so that also contributes to it. So it's something to keep in mind. If we're natural here and we're trying to stay natural or as natural as possible, it's steroids, all of that stuff, growth hormones, it's a personal choice. But I think that most people on this channel are just regular folk, and they're not looking to weigh 300 pounds of muscle if they're 6 feet tall and just want to be like a monster on stage competing. Most people just want to build muscle. It's something that they feel it's inside them. It's something they enjoy doing. Maybe they forgot how to do it, or maybe they just never did it and are not sure what path to take. Maybe are questioning, should I take steroids? Should I take the natural route? If I take the natural route, how do I do it? All I'm saying is that definitely you can do it naturally. You do it in a healthy way, and you will only feel stronger and better as you move forward. I would understand that the last 2 weeks before competition, a person is going to be spent, tired, exhausted from not so much the training, but it's you're so lean, and the last day or so you're so dry that metabolism's through the roof. The body is not in a very normal state at that point. So it's normal. You might be cramping up. You're dehydrated. Completely normal that those last 2 weeks are almost detrimental to your health, as one of my trainers told me years ago, 15 or so years ago, if not 20 years ago. In any case, yeah. So, but typically speaking, generally speaking, you will feel better as you lean down. It shouldn't be getting harder. It should be getting easier, because you'll have more muscle control when you train with the weights. Cardio wise, you already see yourself lean, feel good, and then it's just a matter of refining and sometimes increasing a little bit intensity or the duration, or maybe even adding an extra day later on to get past a sort of plateau. Because it's just like with muscle building, at a certain point, you grow and grow and grow, and then it just reaches a sort of plateau. You might reach that plateau in terms of even leaning down and in your cardio training. So you might say, well, I got to do something different now. I'm not improving. I'm not getting leaner. I see I have a 6-pack. Well, I want to have an 8-pack. I really want to just be chiseled. Then for sure you're gonna have to increase something somewhere. But generally speaking, people are missing one of the most important pieces, and that is rest. I've covered that in another video, and it helps a lot also with leaning down and in correlation with your cardio training. So it's not just for building muscle and bulking up. It's also for lean in terms of leaning down. It's not just even an improved kind of cardio workout. It's also for flushing out your system, cleaning out your system in terms of nutrition. Like when you rest more and you're also doing cardio, like your body just becomes this perfect system that eliminates all of the bad stuff, and everything just is flushed out. And it sounds kind of gross, but it is what it is. It's gonna make you feel better, and it's gonna make you your body more into what someone would consider to be a well-tuned machine. So in any case, I hope I think I covered most of what I wanted to say. If you want to just technical summary of what I was saying in this video, if you're already quite lean, don't have more than 20 or maximum, I would say 30 pounds of fat to lose. So really no more than that, already being possibly a taller person that has, for example, 25 pounds of fat, let's say, maybe not 30. Then you can do cardio twice a week, 20 minutes. If that doesn't work for you, or if you do have a heavier frame and have more fat to lose, but would consider yourself to be somewhere in the middle, average amount of fat for, let's say, a person your age, then possibly being similar, having a similar build to me, or amount of fat as I have. It's kind of hard to see maybe in this video, but I would say I'm somewhere in the middle. So it would be 3 times a week for either 3 times a week 20 minutes, or twice a week 30 minutes. So it's one or the other, really. Probably better to do 3 times a week, just because you're more consistent, the frequency is higher. You'll probably be in better shape that way. Otherwise, twice a week, 30 minutes is great. And if you're on the highest end, which is someone that needs to lose quite a bit of fat, we're getting into more than 40 pounds or more than 30 or 40 pounds, you're getting into maybe 50, 60, 70 pounds, if not more, then 3 times per week. And I wouldn't suggest more than that for someone. If you're in an extreme case, it's different. Likely you don't have a goal really of building so much muscle. Either way, if you're in that last category, 3 times a week, 30 minutes, and always in moderate intensity. So everything I just mentioned, moderate intensity. You should be sweating in the last couple of minutes of that workout. You should be starting to drip down from your forehead, really like sweating, feeling that it's working, and even you should be pretty exhausted by the end of it. You shouldn't have much more energy to go on. If you have more energy, it's because it wasn't as intense as it should have been. And I know that some people do and this is why people do also, one of the reasons why people do interval training, where you're going kind of slowing down and maybe even walking, like a slow walk even, and then sprinting, for as long as you can, which might last 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then you come back to the walking, and they'll do that for an hour, and that's kind of like a more intense cardio. You cannot sprint for an hour straight. It's impossible. So when somebody, just explain to guys at home and girls at home, when you want to get to that high intensity, it's going to be some form of interval training. It's going to be easy, hard, but the hard part is pretty extreme, and it usually lasts only a few seconds, less than a minute for sure. I would say for sure. Some people might be able to keep it up for a minute. I'm not sure, but it's usually that's intense training, like running up stairs. You're running stairs is just by definition is intense training, because as you're running up the stairs, you get to the top of the staircase, for example, but then there's that period where you walk back down the stairs, and it's kind of the easy part. The hardest part is not falling down the stairs. If your legs are there's the muscles in the legs are pretty spent as well, you'll definitely want to hold on to the side handle, but the side rail. So I'm getting into details here. My point is that that's what's considered very intense training, and you will definitely be drenched by the end of that. But I feel like that sort of training, it just burns a person out in terms of muscular development. We're trying to find a balance here. You see, it's like you want to have every piece of the puzzle, and you want to have balance. A better word would probably be harmony. Everybody is different. You need to listen to your body. So take everything I've said with a grain of salt. You might be of a heavier frame, but still start with that 20 minutes twice a week, and that might work for you. You might see yourself and see it in the scale that you're losing 2, 3, 4 pounds a week, if not more. Some people lose 5-6 pounds a week. It's very possible, very doable, especially if you are a heavier person carrying a lot more fat. The results are much greater in a shorter time frame, even if they don't see it as the general picture is not takes months or years, but they're going to improve. The absolute rate of improvement is much faster. So in any case, it became a 40-minute, just like that, a 40-minute video. I hope this helps you. I like all my videos. I'm not, if I could just end with a little personal note, I'm not really one to dedicate so much energy and time to the production of these videos, but I do want to improve them, like I've been saying in a few previous videos as well. But aside from that, also even in terms of what I show in the video, I don't know if I'll ever be the guy that's posing in the video or wearing no shirt or something like that in my videos. I kind of have a few of those from when I was a little younger, but even if I get in great shape and I'm competing and at a high level or something like that, I still will likely not do that. What I want for you guys is to get results. I want you to focus on your results. I just wanted to kind of almost not necessarily toot my own horn, but I do want to mention that, I have such a strong background in fitness and muscle building, and I think I bring a realistic approach to this. So don't be swayed by, this is what I'm saying. Don't be swayed by, the guys that look like they're in shape all the time. Most of them don't live very realistic lives. I mean, I see some YouTubers that are in shape, 365 days a year, and they're living in some small apartment in, some foreign country that they weren't brought up in, which is more than fine, of course, but they're living in Bali somewhere. It's kind of like this fantasy life in a way that they live, no responsibilities, hardly any responsibilities, hardly any income really needed to sustain this magical life that they live. Definitely no children, and I don't want to bring others down, but it's just to say, like, I'm a real person, and I think I hope I'm talking to somebody who's also very real and wants real results. That's why on my website, I believe I recently changed the sort of little slogan or blurb or whatever on my homepage to indicate that it's real results. I had it listed as incredible results, simple methods, incredible results. Incredible sounds very cliche. I wanted something more real, so I used that word, real results. These are real people that want real results, but it doesn't mean, and I should put some sort of caveat or something. It does mean also incredible results. You can have incredible results. It's just that, with the lives that most of us live, it's very much an up and down thing, and just like the intense cardio of intervals, it's easy and then very hard and easy, very hard. Our lives are probably like that. Everybody's, most regular people's lives are like that, and so is your physique going to be like that. So it's normal. There's periods where, almost like a bodybuilder, professional bodybuilder, is the off season, and then there's the on season or pre-season, I believe, as they call it, right before competition or leading up to the competition. That's when they lean down. And now my videos are for people that are, let's say, most of my videos are for that period, that 3 months before, whatever. It's not a competition you're entering. Maybe you're not a bodybuilder. It doesn't matter. You just want to get in great shape. So, but of course, I provide a bunch of information for, the off season, and I myself, I'm pretty much still in that off season kind of phase, but very soon we'll be approaching myself that transformation phase, what people would consider transformation for someone like me that's already bulked up and built up quite a bit of muscle. I want to lean down now. It's time to lean down. So in any case, either way, it's really, the channel is for a person that's anywhere in their journey, but a lot of these videos, this one especially, is for that last couple of months, really trying to get in, show those gains that you made, those muscle gains. In any case, all the best, you guys. I hope to hear from you soon. Check out my site, veb.org. It's Veb with a V like Virginia, E like electric, B like Bob, .org. And a site dedicated to muscle building, fitness, and beyond. Check it out, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. It helps with the algorithm. It helps with just building a sort of strong community associated with natural, healthy training for real people wanting real results, and once again, also incredible results. So all the best to you, and I hope to hear from you very soon. All right, thanks very much, guys. To the next video.